And we are motherfucking live, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 27? 28. Hold on. This is episode 20-something of my live Q&A series here on DMT Infinity. And I decided... Give me one second. For the past 2 days, I've been obsessing over a bunch of anime YouTube channels. I came across a brand new one. I think it is called Anime America. And I probably binge watched about 20 hours of her content. Well, I know technically it's a group of people, but she's the main one who does it. And I just found myself becoming obsessed with the channel. And after binge watching so many of her videos, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna talk about some anime over on DMT Infinity. So I decided to make a top 25 list of my personal. top 25 favorite anime of all time. Now, not all of you are going to agree with this list, because lists like this are entirely subjective to the individual. And, there's going to be a lot of people who are fans of the one that I have at number 25, and whenever they hear 24, and they're like, wait, you like 24 better than 25? Nah, man, fuck you, unsubscribe. Look, I completely understand, but this is my subjective, personal, top 25 favorite anime of all time. Not everybody is going to agree with the list. So, you can let me know down in the comment section below, if you are watching this after the fact that it has been posted to my channel, you can let me know down in the comment section below what your top 25 favorite anime of all time are. H7 enters into the motherfucking chat and says, sup. Minor enters into the motherfucking chat and says, H7 enters into the motherfucking... H7 then continues on and says, funny coincidence, your stream is about anime, because I happen to be starting a random project inspired by the previous video I watched. Who asked for an anime intro for $20. Ah, fucking badass. H7 then goes on to say, I don't know jack about anime, so your stream is going to be most informative. 25 is a pretty inclusive list. Yes it is. Now, I would have done like a top 10 list or a top 20 list, but there are so many anime that I love that I just would have felt bad for not putting them on the list. And even whenever I started getting to like the top 8, 7, 6, 5 anime, it is really hard for me to actually say that the one that I have at number 1 is my absolute favorite anime, and the one that I have at number 5 is my 5th favorite anime. It is like, once I started getting to like the top 5, they kind of all spiral together, but I set it up the way that I did based on like the amount, or the basically like an anime that not only do I absolutely love the story of and think that it deserves that place on the list because of its story, but also due to rewatch value and how many times I personally rewatch it. So just because something is at number 3 and something is at number 1 doesn't mean that I like number 1 then I like number 3. It is all based on the situation and what I'm wanting to watch at that moment. Like, if I wanted to watch, say, like a really cool anime about card games, I'm not going to go watch fucking Dragon Ball Z. I'm going to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Or if I want to watch an anime about ninjas, I'm not going to watch Hellgirl, I'm going to watch Naruto. So, you just have to keep in mind that not only is my list entirely subjective to me, but once it starts getting to like the top few, they kind of really all spiral together. It was really hard for me to decide which ones I wanted where, so I just decided to base it on the rewatch value that it has for me, and just the overall story in and of itself. Again, a lot of people who are fans of number 25 are probably going to hate me whenever they hear number 24, And they're going to be like, how can you like that more than you liked number 25? Look, I completely understand, but this is just my opinion on anime that I like. At number 25, we have Soul Eater. Now, unlike a lot of people, I am not the biggest fan of Soul Eater's animation style. It is actually one reason why I haven't watched Soul Eater all the way through. I've seen the majority of Soul Eater. I just cannot get past the animation. I don't particularly like the animation, and I think that a lot of the characters are absolutely fucking annoying. But at the same time, I do like the overall story, and there are characters what is his name, Frankenstein or something like that, the Mad Genius. I like him as a character. He was actually the first character while watching that I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to keep watching this because of him. Just because I really liked his character, and the dude is just like in a fucking wheelchair, kicking these kids' ass, and he just randomly falls out of it all the time. So it's just funny to me, and I really liked his character. And Sid the Kid, I mean, fucking Sid the Kid, fucking Death the Kid, I like his character to a certain degree. And I really like the twin sisters, as Pistols. But he can get very annoying for me sometimes. It is like sometimes something will go on where he's like fucking getting all pissed and like irritated due to the fact that everything isn't perfectly synchronized, and sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I'm just like, okay, it's starting to get old. Now, like I said, not a lot of people are going to like the fact that I like number 24 than number 25, but like I've mentioned, I'm not like a super major fucking fan of Soul Eater, but I do like it, and I can understand why people love it. At number At number 24, we have Bakugan Battle Brawlers. Now, for those of you sitting there saying, DMT, that is not a fucking anime, that is a cartoon for kids, you would be wrong, my friend, because Bakugan Battle Brawlers is technically a Japanese Canadian anime, or some shit like that. It is an anime. Look it up. So growing up, I was always a huge fan of Duel Monsters, the card game in the Yu-Gi-Oh series, and I could never get into all of the other shows about like card games like Duel Masters and shit, because I don't know, it felt like it was all trying to cash in on the fact that you now have Yu-Gi-Oh! Making millions and millions of fucking dollars with children, teenagers, and adults all over the world. So there were a bunch of other card games that were like, yeah man, we're just gonna try and like get in on that. Now, I do remember growing up liking the PlayStation 2 Duel Masters game and watching a few episodes and kind of getting into it, but not being able to stick with it. But then whenever I watched Bakugan Battle Brawlers, I was like, holy shit, this is like Beyblade level shit. I mean, it's not like Beyblade, but it is like Beyblade level shit whenever it comes to new and original ideas in this specific game genre. And I liked the fact that that you could actually buy these bitches, and it was just such a unique game for its time because I'd never seen anything like that beforehand. I mean, I know that for an adult it may not seem like the funnest thing, but if you grew up playing it, then you're probably going to love it as an adult. In fact, I can actually still go back now and play Bakugan Battle Brawlers and still enjoy it. And I can go back and watch the anime and still enjoy it. Even if I take off the nostalgia lenses and try and look at it from an objective point of view, I just think it is a really good anime for children, for teenagers, and for adults. At number 3, we have Dragon Ball Z. Now, I'm not talking about Dragon Ball. I did not like Dragon Ball. I tried getting into it. I don't like it. I can understand why there are people who like it, because if you grew up watching that show, then you have a connection to it because you grew up with Goku from the time he was a kid and you were a kid. So seeing him in Dragon Ball Z, you have now seen this kid go from just being a badass kid to actually being a fucking badass. But I'm not a fan of it. I did not like Dragon Ball GT. I thought that Dragon Ball GT was absolute horseshit. I heard that there are good episodes in it, but I don't care to watch all of them to find out. Dragon Ball Super is pretty cool, but there isn't a particular season or arc that I am really invested in whenever it comes to Dragon Ball Super. Now, Dragon Ball Z, on the other hand, even though that I would be willing to argue about 30 to 40% of those episodes are dog shit, at least in my opinion, the rest of it is fucking badass. I usually don't like fighting anime with a shit ton of action and all of that. But Dragon Ball Z is an exception to that, just like a few other anime. But Dragon Ball Z is also an exception to that, because unlike something like Naruto, at least in the earlier seasons where it was ninjas fighting ninjas, like humans fighting humans, Dragon Ball Z isn't like that. Dragon Ball Z is, for all intents and purposes, God level people fighting God level people. Even if we're not talking about like Goku or some of the other like gods, but like everybody in comparison to all other anime universes, or at least most of them, are God level, man. And I remember the first thing that got me into Dragon Ball Z, like actually fucking like made me be like, okay, I really respect this. Aside from Team 4 Star's Dragon Ball Z Abridged series, because that would technically be the first thing. But whenever it comes to the actual anime, is that I went onto YouTube and I remember seeing bits and pieces of Goku Kid Buu. And I was like, oh, this actually does look pretty fucking badass. So, I decided to watch the entire Buu fight, like with Kid Buu. And I was stoned out of my fucking mind, so I'm deeply invested into every little thing that is going on. And I just remember thinking to myself, holy shit, this isn't a human being fighting like a fucking otherworldly being or some shit. I mean, technically, yeah, but I mean, just like, it's not like Naruto characters fighting other Naruto characters. This is what it would look like if we watched a god fighting a god. And I was like drawn to it, but like I said, I think that 30 to 40% of all of Dragon Ball Z is just dog shit. I don't care for it. Whereas you have like the Buu saga, you have the Frieza saga, you have the Cell saga, the entire Android saga anyway, and there are just sagas like that where I can sit there and I can watch it all the way through, even if some of the voice acting I particularly don't like, or just because it is older, it has like a more like, the animation style isn't like what it would be today, but I can look past that because of when it was made. And I've had people be like, well, why don't you just watch Dragon Ball Kai? First of all, from what I know about Dragon Ball Kai and from what I've seen from it, a lot of things were censored. A lot of things were like extremely shortened down. Like even the things that were canon, like even like non-filler shit was like, I've just heard a lot of bad things about it, so I've decided to not invest any time into Dragon Ball Kai, since I'm just going to, like, if I want to watch that, I'm just going to watch Dragon Ball Z. Or if I want, like, what I would consider to be my real fix of Dragon Ball in general, I would go watch Team 4 Star's Dragon Ball Z Abridged series. But that was also the first thing that I ever watched whenever it came to Dragon Ball, and so whenever I think Dragon Ball Z, I think Team 4 Star, whereas, like, a lot of other people would either think, like, Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball GT or something. But, yeah, that is why Dragon Ball Z is at number 23 on this list. Miner says yeet. Well, he didn't add the little laugh, but he did say yeet. And then he goes on to say Cell Saga. Yeah, I thought it was pretty badass. I think that Cell is probably one of the most badass villains in the entire Dragon Ball, well, just in the entire Dragon Ball series at all. I mean, he's, like, if it wasn't for plot armor and plot convenience and the fact that the bad guys cannot lose, there's no way that he wouldn't have won. He was made up of all of the strongest, fighters in the entire known universe, including Goku, and he could absorb anybody else. So I just thought that was pretty fucking... That was such a cool fucking trait for him. And I liked seeing him go through all of his various forms, and I remember laughing my ass off the very first time that I watched Cell in Dragon Ball Z Abridged, whenever Vegeta just lets him become perfect Cell. I just remember laughing my ass off at that scene. And then after watching all of that, I was like, yeah, I have to go watch the original source material, and it's pretty fucking badass. I mean, again, I'm not into action anime, but Dragon Ball Z is an exception, and like I said, I also don't mind Dragon Ball Super. The majority of it I really couldn't care less for, but it's not like I hate the series. I can watch it and enjoy it and be entertained by it, whereas Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball GT are just dog shit to me. At number 22, we have Shiki. So I've only watched Shiki one time over, all the way through. It is actually one of the most recent anime that I've watched, but it was very fascinating, and it has some very creepy moments. I remember seeing somebody on YouTube recommending it, because they were sent, like, it was like a top 10 disturbing anime list or something, and it was on the list, but I never got around to watching it. And then I went over to, no, not Anime Freak, but like, it was another anime website, and I just randomly clicked on it. And I didn't know that that was the anime that was mentioned in that video till I got to the scene where the chick is coming out from under the bed after she became a Shiki, and like, she's like doing like all those like weird bends and everything before she bites the dude. I was like, holy shit, this is actually a really cool fucking anime. Like, and I really like the Buddhist monk dude. Like, it is, like, it has some really cool characters. Like, I remember watching the first half of episode 1, and the main character of episode 1, the one who turns into a Shiki. I remember being so turned off from the anime because she was so fucking annoying. Like, this was like one of the most annoying anime characters that I have ever watched, and I just remember thinking to myself, there's no way I'm watching all these episodes. But then there were like small things that were like, well, I mean, maybe, let's just see where this goes. After I finished episode 1, I decided to finish episode 2, and then 3, and then 4, and I was just like, damn, this is a really cool anime. Like, it's not the best one that I've ever seen, but this is pretty fucking tight. At number 21, we have Angel Beats. Now, let's go ahead and get the music back on, because that was a very, very low one. Okay, so at number 21 we have Angel Beats. I have seen the first 1 to 2 episodes like probably about like 5 or 6 times, and then I ended up drinking on a fucking 12-pack of beer, so I was pretty loaded whenever I watched it. I can't remember the majority of it. I remember bits and pieces, but I remember liking it a lot. I really love the fucking intro to it, and I think that Angel is just fucking beautiful. But like I said, I don't remember like the entire overarching story for it, but I remember bits and pieces, and I remember enough of it to say that I like it better than Dragon Ball Z, Bakugan Battle Brawlers, and Soul Eater. And I'm certainly going to rewatch it again, and because it is a much shorter anime, it's a lot easier for me to just like sit down and like binge watch it overnight or something whenever I'm not working on the channel or live streaming or making video content or making music or writing or something else. And same thing with like, well, those are also on the list, so we'll get to that, but just like short animes in general tend to be some of my favorite ones because because the rewatch value is usually more appealing to me because it's so much shorter. It's more like watching like a couple movies or a few movies or something. At number 20, we have One Punch Man. Now, it took me quite a while to watch One Punch Man, and I've only seen season 1. It took me quite a while to get to it because I knew it was a comedy, but I just remember seeing bits and pieces of it on YouTube without context or anything, and I was just like, this is not something that I would enjoy. Like, I guess I could see the appeal in it if like people like superheroes or something, or like maybe a kid would like watching it or something, but then I actually watched it, and then I realized, holy fucking shit, this is actually not only is it funny as hell, but it has really cool characters in it, and the chemistry between Saitama and the other dude, the cyborg dude. I like the chemistry between them because I actually believe their friendship. Like, it actually feels genuine. At number 19, we have motherfucking Afro Samurai. If you have not seen Afro Samurai, I would recommend it. I have never seen an anime about samurai that I've actually enjoyed. Ever. Ever. But this is one where, I mean, I guess you could say Naruto, but there are no samurai in Naruto. So I guess that really doesn't count, that would, because they're ninjas. But anyway, I've never seen an anime that specifically focuses on samurais before. And I remember watching the first episode quite a few times, but I could never get around to watching all the episodes. But whenever I finally did, it was so fucking satisfying to me. And it's a very short anime, so if you haven't seen it and you are into samurais, go fucking check it out. It actually has a really cool fucking premise, and the animation, there are certain parts whenever like certain action scenes happen, or just like certain shots, and I'm just like, that's alright, it is what it is. Like, it's not the best animation that I've ever seen, but because of everything else that surrounds it, all of that makes up for like the parts where I get a little bit nitpicky with. But overall, it is a damn good anime if you're into samurais. Like, let me tell you, I was about to say One Punch Man. Afro Samurai himself, the main character, you probably cannot name a more badass fucking samurai than this dude. Like, this dude can cut bullets in half with a sword. At number 18, we have High School of the Dead. Now, I have not seen High School of the Dead probably since I was about 15 or 16, probably around like 16 years old. So it's been quite a while since I've seen it, but I can remember the overall story, and I'm a huge fan of zombies. So whenever I found a good anime, I mean, it's a very perverted anime, which is not usually my cup of tea, but I think that it, as perverted as it can be, it also has a mature element to it as well, and it is also just very well written. I remember the first time watching it, and whenever they started showcasing the zombies, I just remember being hooked to it, because like it wasn't like these are like Resident Evil 5 style zombies. These are just fucking zombies. Like, they're not monsters, they're not mutants. They are actual slow-paced fucking zombies that come in huge-ass crowds like on The Walking Dead. And I've never in my entire life seen another zombie anime that was actually good, aside from High School of the Dead. Now, there are most likely ones out there that I haven't seen. There are just so many fucking anime in the world that there's no way that I'll ever actually watch all of them. In fact, I wouldn't want to, because more than half of any anime ever made, at least in my personal opinion, is fucking dog shit. Most of it is just cookie cutter, rinse and repeat, same fucking premise, same bullshit, same perverted shit. A lot of them take place like fucking schools and shit. I don't want to see this shit. I want to see something with real substance, real story. Where's the novelty in your creativity? Actually bring something to the table that is worth remembering, something worth watching, something worth indulging in, something just something good, man. Like, I'm not asking you to, like, make the most original fucking thing in the entire world. But be a fucking artist and make something that not only you can genuinely be proud of, but something that other people can be proud of being a fan of. At number 17, we have Black Blood Brothers. Now, this is an anime about vampires, and that's kind of really all I remember from it, because I have not watched this since I was like 14 or 15. But there are bits and pieces of it that I remember, and like the feeling of watching it still remains with me. And the parts that I do remember from it are very special to me, and the reason that it is so high up on the list in comparison to everything else under it is mainly due to nostalgia. And whenever I just overall, whenever I think about it, I don't know, it is just like a very happy, nostalgic, warm feeling that brings me back to the first time that I ever watched it, sitting up in my room whenever I had my fucking TV stand that like fucking like came all the way up with my fucking first flat screen TV on that bitch, and had my other fucking monitor over here, my fucking laptop over here, my fucking computer up in the other room, and just while watching it, just doing my fucking thing on YouTube, making videos, fucking just doing everything, man. And I don't know, it just brings me back to those moments, and that is why it is so high up on the list. I do plan to rewatch it again, so yeah, after I rewatch it, it may or may not be even higher up on the list, but until then, at number 16, we have Rosio X Vampire, or maybe it is just called Rosio Vampire. I am not usually into anime like this. I think that anime like this are cheesy as fuck. I think that there's too many of them. I think that 99.99% of them are absolute fucking garbage, and I'm just not a fan. But Rosio Vampire, I'm just going to call it Rosio X Vampire because that is just usually what I refer to it as. Rosio X Vampire actually has a pretty fascinating premise. It's kind of basic, and it's not like fucking revolutionary or anything, but it's at least in my opinion, it's a good anime, and it is worth watching all the way through. So you have this kid who ends up getting so he starts his first day of school at this like fucking at this new fucking high school thing, and like, or college, or it's one of the two. I forgot what it was, like his parents enrolled him into it or some shit. But anyway, whenever he gets there, he begins to realize that this is not a normal fucking school. But everybody looks like they're human beings, but they're not. They are actually different kinds of monsters. Monsters that are taking the form of humans so they can like blend in and shit. Like, I don't mean like monsters like fucking like Frankenstein. I mean monsters like fucking vampires. And I remember watching this for the first time, and then again, I was very young, so I just remember being drawn to it because of that factor. It's like, even though it is such a basic ass story, and it's not like premises like this haven't been done a million times. I mean, not this exact story. It does have a certain original element to it, but I enjoyed it for what it was, and I remember really, really, really liking not the main character. I don't remember if he was annoying or a cool character, but the chick who has like the two different vampire forms. Like, she has like the normal one that she is in, like the disguised human, and then like the actual vampire form. I remember really liking her character, and then I remembered there were a bunch of other characters that I also really liked. So just like Black Blood Brothers, this one is mainly on the list due to nostalgia purposes. But overall, it is a damn good anime from what I can remember. Now, the higher up that would go up on the list, starting from here at number 15, these are anime that I have watched in more recent times, within at least the past year to year and a half alone. So these are ones that are extremely fresh in my mind. At number 15, we have Hellgirl. Hellgirl is about... Okay, so every single episode you're going to have a different main character. And that main character ends up getting put in... Well, the majority of all of the episodes, because it does start to like branch off into like the one main overarching story with Hellgirl, who is basically like the main character, but you always have like another main character who ends up coming into contact with her through a website. But this is how it happens. So the main character of the episode is in a very, very fucked up situation in life, and their life is a living hell because of a certain individual. Well, they hear about this website called the Hell Correspondence. The Hell Correspondence website can only be accessed at midnight. And if you access it, then you write the name of your tormentor into the little box, or you send Hellgirl a message, one of the two. But I think it is their name. And then you sit in, and then you click send. And then as soon as you click send, then Hellgirl will appear to you. And she will offer you this little doll that has a red string around its neck. And she says, and I'm paraphrasing, but if you want the soul of your tormentor to perish in hell for the rest of eternity, simply pull the thread from the doll's neck. Again, I'm paraphrasing, but that's like the general gist of it. But there is a catch. If you do this, and you send your tormentor's soul straight to hell, which will happen instantly, and every single time that a Hellgirl goes to get the soul of the person, that is one thing that every episode is worth watching for, because it is so fucking badass and creative, especially whenever she is actually like bringing them to hell in a fucking boat, and like everything that like leads up to that moment, badass shit. But here's the catch: if you do that, then your soul will also belong to hell, but not until you die. So in other words, you can live out the rest of your life, but you will go to hell whenever you die. So it's a pretty, like, it sounds like a premise where it is like, well, why the fuck would anyone do that? Like, no, I don't want to go to hell for the rest of eternity, but you actually have to watch the anime. And you have to understand how psychologically vulnerable these people are at these exact moments and what is going on in their life. Like, the first episode is a perfect example of the kind of people who access the Hell Correspondence. It is people who feel like this is the only thing that they can do at this point. But yeah, it is a pretty badass anime, and I would recommend it. At number 14, we have... Okay, so I kind of cheated here, because at number 14 we have two different anime. I mean, they're not different anime, but we have... So I have Hellsing and I have Hellsing Ultimate. Hellsing Ultimate is the OVA version of Hellsing. But I like them equally. You see, that's the thing. I know that there are people who are like, dude, Hellsing Ultimate is so much better, man, but I like them both equally. I think that they both have a certain charm to them. In fact, I would say that Hellsing Ultimate probably for as badass as Hellsing Ultimate is in comparison to just Hellsing, and Hellsing's pretty fucking badass, Hellsing Ultimate has some pretty annoying moments, and I don't like the sense of humor. Like, it was like a complete 180. Like, anytime that like a comedy scene would happen, it just felt so disconnected from the rest of the story. So I usually end up like skipping those parts whenever I'm actually watching the anime. But to simplify it, Hellsing is an anime about an organization called the Hellsing Organization, which is run by a woman named Sir Integra Hellsing. Her father died and gave her ownership of the Hellsing organization. Well, before he had died, the Hellsing organization, it was either him specifically, or another character named Walter, or something like that, but they had captured Dracula, like the actual vampire Dracula. But in Hellsing, he's not called Dracula, he is called Alucard, which is Dracula spelled backwards. And not to give too much away, because there are things that could easily spoil some pretty cool points in it, but so he is under Sir Integra Hellsing's control. Like, whatever she says, he has to do. So they are like connected in that way. So like he goes on missions and everything. I don't want to spoil what happens in the first episode by saying too much, but look, if you are into vampires and anime, go check out Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate if you haven't already. I would recommend watching Hellsing first. Or no, watch the first episode of Hellsing. and then watch the first episode of Hellsing Ultimate, and then just watch all the way through whichever one you want to first, but then go back and watch the other one. But I would recommend watching like episode 1 of both Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate first, just to see which one kind of like gets you first, you know? At number 13, hold on, let's see here. H7 says, thinking about selling your soul to the devil? Call help today. Thinking about selling your soul to the devil? Call help today at 1-800-666-6666. At number 13, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0. Now, I was thinking about putting Season 1 at the list, and some of you may be thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0? Zero? Yes, yes. Hear me out. Hear me out. So if you know what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, just in general, then you know what it is. Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0 is not what the fuck you think it is. Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0 was made before Yu-Gi-Oh! Came out. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is more for, like... I mean, teenagers and adults can certainly watch Yu-Gi-Oh! And enjoy it. But it's mainly made for kids. Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0 was made for adults, 18 and older. And in Yu-Gi-Oh!, Yami, the main character, Yugi Yami, I mean, Yami is the pharaoh, Yugi is the dude with the millennium, I mean, the kid with the millennium puzzle, blah, blah, but Yami, the main character, he is the king of card games, right? He's the king of duel monsters. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0, okay, so in Yu-Gi-Oh! He is referred to as the king of games, okay? But he isn't. He's the king of card games. He's the king of duel monsters. Whereas in Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0, he was the king of games. But we're talking about, like, games from hell. We're not talking about fucking Monopoly and fucking Modern Warfare 2 Online. He was the king of, like, hell games. And there was no Shadow Realm in Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0, which technically in Yu-Gi-Oh! There wasn't either, but then for kids, whenever they translated it to English, they called it the Shadow Realm, but in the Japanese dub, it is actually just hell. But in Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0, the way that it happens is that you get all of these different premises about how all of these random jackasses end up coming into the picture. They're like fucking bullies, they're rapists, they're murderers, blah blah blah. And then they come into contact with Yami, who is just somehow dragged into it by whatever means. Fucking plot convenience. And and they're always told, if you lose this game to me, then your soul will be dragged into hell. And it always happens in like really like fucked up, disturbing, morbid fashion, so it is worth watching for. But it is only in Japanese. I mean, I think that someone on YouTube did like an English dub of it, but it's not professional, but still go check it out. But it is, if you lose in this game, then your soul will get dragged to the deepest depths of hell. And if you cheat, then there is no more trying to win. You've already lost. But the way that these games play out is always so fucking badass. Like, I don't want to give too much away, but there is this one scene where Yami, I mean, he's not called Yami in Season 0, they all have different names from the Yu-Gi-Oh! that most people know. But there is this one scene where this dude has a gun to him. And they're playing a game, and the rule is something along the lines of like whoever can like knock out or like kill the other person first with a certain thing or something like that wins the game or some shit like that. I haven't seen it in like at least a fucking year or so. But the other dude says this finger or whatever or this gun, and that's why he has the gun out, and then Yami says this thumb. Now I know his name isn't Yami, but I'm going to keep calling him Yami. And he says this thumb right here. So at this moment, it is kind of like he's kind of like flexing on the dude, but the dude doesn't even realize it. He just thinks this is just some dude who's about to fucking die. And then the dude with the gun puts a cigarette in his mouth. And then Yami brings over a lighter. And he's like, you want me to light that for you? So he goes to light it, And then whenever he does, he drops the lighter just right to where it lands on the dude's hand where he's holding the gun. And he has to move his hand, otherwise the light, like if he shoots the gun, then the lighter falls into all of the fucking alcohol and he just fucking goes on fire now. So yeah, it's pretty fucking badass, and it's not like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1, 2, 3, whatever, and then GX and all of the other new ones and shit. It's actually more adult. So like whatever you think this Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, aside from what I've told you, it's not what you think it is. It is actually made for adults. Okay, so at number 12, we have Capellion. I have watched Capellion 2 times over now. The first time that I watched it, I wasn't paying too close attention to it, but I was paying close enough attention to it to where, like, I knew what was going on, but I had to rewatch it again just because I wanted to pay close attention to every aspect. It's actually pretty fucking badass. Like, whenever you see the cover of it, it's not going to be what you think it is. Like, you may think that this is just going to be like some random perverted anime about some dude who has like a bunch of fucking chicks and everything, blah blah blah, these chicks are like over-sexualized, blah blah. No, it's not like that. In fact, the 3 chicks that you're seeing, they're not entirely human. They are experiments that were made by the government. And I don't know. It is really hard to explain because I don't know like certain words for like certain things. But go check it out. Like it is a very short anime. It's only like 12 or 13 episodes. It is worth watching. It is on Hulu, and you can find it many places online as well. So if you're like into like short anime that with new and original stories, watch episode 1 of it and just see how you feel. At number, I was about to say number 17. At number 11, we have Assassination Classroom. Look, this anime really surprised me. Because whenever I first heard of it, I was like, I'm probably not going to get into this. Especially whenever I saw bits and pieces on YouTube and I saw the teacher. I was like, this is too cheesy for me. This is like, nah, man, I'm good. And then for some reason, one day, I don't know what made me watch it. I just remember putting on the first episode, and I'm gonna have to do a standalone video on this particular topic right here. Assassination Classroom, the first episode is one of the best first episodes of an anime I've ever seen. Like, the first episode of Assassination Classroom sets up the story and the characters and the overall premise spectacularly. Because, like, you're watching, like, the first, like, literally, not even the first 30 seconds of it. Or, like, not even the first fucking minute of Assassination Classroom. It's not what you think it's going to be. In this, like, it gets right into the fucking story. And I don't even want to fucking spoil anything. Like, I'm not going to say anything about it. But if you've heard of it, if you've seen bits and pieces, and you want to watch it, at least watch episode 1. Like I said, I personally think that Assassination Classroom episode 1 is one of the absolute best first anime episodes ever. Like, this is one of the best setups to an anime series ever. It is so badass, and the way that it can switch between animation styles depending on the mood and atmosphere that it surrounds and the script that it is working with is, for most of the time, is spectacular. And I love the sense of humor in it. Like, most of the sense of humor I vibe with. Whereas, like, even a lot of anime that I really, really love, I usually don't like a lot of the sense of humor. Whereas, like, Assassination Classroom, it knows what it is. It's almost kind of like a parody. Like, a parody of not just anime in general, but even of itself. Like, it knows what it is, and it is very good at being that. So if you haven't seen Assassination Classroom, then go check out Assassination Classroom. Now, at number 11, Assassination Classroom, everything from 11 to number 1 on my list is like it kind of like all spirals around itself. So like really none of these do I like more or less than any of the others. But if we're just going with like overall story and rewatch value for me personally, then these are the top 11 of these right here. But yeah, like even number 1 technically isn't like my absolute favorite anime of all time, but it's one of my all-time favorite anime of all time. You can almost think of like everything from 11 to number 1 as number 1. So at number 10, we have Death Parade. So I heard many good things about Death Parade before watching it, but the first thing that I ever heard about I'm sorry. The first thing that made me want to watch it, I saw this clip on YouTube and it was called Light Yagami Appears on Death Parade or something like that. And I was like, what? And then I watched the clip and I was like, holy shit. That's like, he doesn't talk or anything, but damn, that's Light Yagami. He just fucking sat down. So I had to see it. I was like, what the fuck is up with this anime? After episode 1, I was like, holy shit, I'm hooked. Like the main idea here is that I don't even want to spoil it, because if I say anything about it, then if you haven't seen it yet and you watch episode 1, then I'm going to spoil the twist at the end of episode 1, and I just don't want to do it. But go check it out. Like if you're into short anime that are really dark, like Death Note, oh, go check it out. It's pretty fucking cool. Like it's not like Death Note, but it's dark like Death Note. Now, at number 9, we have 18IF. Or maybe it is just called 18IF. I don't know. It is something like that. 18IF. Look, even though that this is at number 9, I want to put it out there right now that I think the ending of this anime was fucking dumb. I hated the climax of this fucking anime. I hated the last few episodes, because everything about it, everything that it was setting up. Like if you watch episode 1 of 18IF or 18IF, whatever it's called, if you watch episode 1 and then you watch the last episode, you would most likely swear to fucking God that this is not the same anime. The conclusion of it and how they... Again, I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't seen it, but the way that they beat the bad guy, right, is ridiculous. I'm not going to tell you how they do it, no. I want you to watch it all the way through and be just as fucking disappointed as I was. Because it was a really damn good anime. Until the ending. Like, I don't know, man. I don't even know. But it's pretty fucking badass. At number 8, we have Elfen Lied. I've probably rewatched Elfen Lied about 20 times in my life. The first time that I ever saw Elfen Lied, I was pretty young. I want to say I was probably like 10, 11 or 12, something like that. So Elfen Lied is about this species, this breed of human beings called Diclonius. And Diclonius have these little horns on their head, and they have these invisible things that come out of their backs that look like arms, but they're called vectors. And again, they are invisible. Well, they are like arms with hands, but they are invisible, but it's not like, I don't know, I think that the way that I am describing it makes it sound like something it's not, but they're called vectors, and they can cut through fucking anything. Like, they can cut through human bone with ease, they can cut through metal with ease, they can cut fucking hundreds of fucking pounds of fucking metal just straight fucking through. Like, these are like the ultimate fucking cutting tools. It is a very graphic anime. A lot of blood, a lot of human beings get torn to fucking just it is gruesome. It is gruesome as fuck. Now, I've had some people say to me, "So you're not a fan of perverted anime, right?" Right. Then why do you like Elfen Lied? It is very perverted. It is. But here's the thing. I think they do it right most of the time. Because the reason I don't like most perverted anime is because it is... I can't explain it. Like, I just don't like anime where it's just like a bunch of like fucking panty shots and big bouncing boobs, and I don't know. Something about that is a turnoff for me. Whereas like Elfen Lied, it's more mature about it. It's not like a fucking horny ass 16-year-old boy wrote this. It's more like an adult wrote it from a more mature perspective. Like, I don't really know how to explain it better than that. It is that most perverted anime are very immature with the perverted nature of the anime. Whereas, like, Elfen Lied is a lot more mature in that manner, and that is why I like it. And I don't know. I guess that is just the best way that I can describe it, but I would recommend checking out Elfen Lied. Elfen Lied is pretty badass. At number 7, we have Did Man Wonderland. So Did Man Wonderland starts off with this kid in school. Yeah, I know, I don't like premises like that either, but trust me, it gets badass. So the entire classroom in episode 1 gets fucking slaughtered. Yeah, everyone dies, except for one kid. One kid is left alive, and then he's brought to court. And guess what? They caught him on camera, and he was the one who killed everybody. Even though that we watching the anime know that it wasn't him because we see the dude in red outside. But so he gets put on it's like death row, but not. It is more like a really fucked up experiment where people on death row go to this place called Dead Man Wonderland, where they have these things around their necks, these death collars, and they have to eat these certain candies to keep their collar time like extended. This candy, then the time will eventually go down and just the poison will go into their neck and they'll die. But they can eat these candies which extend the time on their collars, but the only way to get these candies is with certain points, which act like money. And the only way to get these points, this money, this currency, you have to win extremely fucked up games. Where anybody who's playing these games, most of you are going to die in some of the most gruesome ways possible. But hey, guess what? The winner gets points, and they can extend their life. And then once you once you were introduced to the character that like runs the whole goddamn thing, he's the most cynical, most sociopathic character that I've ever seen in a fucking anime. Like, he makes fucking... Like, I would put him on the same level of fucked up as, like, fucking Frieza or some shit. But it is a damn good anime, and it is also short. It's only 12 to 13 episodes long, so if you haven't seen Dead Man Wonderland, go check out Dead Man Wonderland. Now, granted, the English voice acting, just like a lot of English voice acting whenever they do English dubs, are not good. But if you can disconnect yourself from the voice acting or just watch the Japanese dub instead, but if you were like me and have to watch the English dub, then just separate yourself from the voice acting and just pay attention to the story and just overall what is being said. And at number 6, we have Kuroshichuji, or in English known as Black Butler. Black Butler is about a kid named CL Phantom Hive. So the anime isn't very, very specific about how CL ends up in the position that he is, but the manga does, and I'm not going to spoil that for those of you who want to read the manga and or watch the anime. But so you have this kid named CL who makes a deal with a demon. And whenever he makes this deal, the demon is like, he now owns the demon for the rest of his life. And the demon's name is Sebastian. Sebastian has to do everything for CL Phantom Hive for the rest of his life. So he is now CL's butler. So you can just imagine, he has the most fucking badass butler that anyone could ever fucking have. But then whenever CL dies, then Sebastian gets to literally eat his soul, because to demons, a human soul is like a delicacy, and different souls are like different kinds of delicacies. Like some of them are like much more rich and just much higher quality than other souls, but Sebastian CCL's is like the ultimate feast. Like, this is going to be the greatest soul that I have ever and will ever consume. Now, if you want to watch Black Butler and see it from just a general perspective, watch seasons 1 and 2. Personally, I love the way that season 2 ended, and I think that season 1 and 2 of Black Butler are the best things in Black Butler ever. But you can also read the manga, and they also have like spin-offs for Black Butler, like CL in Wonderland, and then you have like Black Butler Book of Circus, you have an OVA, and all that. But me, Black Butler is just season 1 and 2. Now I heard that the manga ended differently than the anime, but I haven't read the manga. Well, I've read some of the manga, but I haven't read all of them. But I love the way that season 2 ends for Black Butler. And I think that right there, at least for me personally, that is the definitive ending for Black Butler. I thought it was very well made. I thought that it was very, very well put together. And I am absolutely in love with Black Butler. Especially the way that it fucking ended. I know that some people don't like it. I know that some, like, I've heard some people say, like, oh, well, the manga's ending was better or some shit or something like that. Again, I haven't read the manga, so I can't tell you anything about that. But for me personally, I think that the ending of season 2 is the definitive ending for Black Butler. Or if you're Japanese, Kuroshichiji. Nonetheless, at number 5, we have... So this is another one of the most recent anime that I've watched, okay? I fell in love with this anime instantly. At number 5, we have a truck. At number 5, we have Devil's Line. Devil's Line is a vampire anime. And usually, most vampire anime are very, very fucking cheesy. Or at least the ones that I've seen. This one is actually really fucking badass. At least in my fucking opinion. So you have, it is really hard to like, give like an overall description for the entire story, because I've only watched it one time over, and my description of it wouldn't do it justice, but yeah, if you were into vampires, then go check it out. It's pretty fucking badass. At number 4, we have Parasite, the Maxim. This is one of the most tear-jerking, darkest, most morbid, most fucked up anime I have ever fucking watched in my entire fucking life. So, it starts off as basic as you would think a fucking basic ass fucking anime to be. It starts off with a fucking dude in high school, and he's in high school, he has a family, blah blah blah. It's basic ass premise. But then he ends up waking up to his... Okay, I don't know if the eye appeared first, but he eventually starts to realize that something is wrong with his fucking hand. And he wakes up and like his hand is like all like fucking deformed and shit. He has a parasite inside of his hand. But this isn't like an earth parasite. This is like a fucking like... It is literally from outer space. So this thing can like deform the entire human body, and it can take over the entire host, and it can like open up the fucking head and shit, and it can make like these very fucked up weapons with the arms and bodies and like all deformed and shit. And usually whenever a parasite enters into a host, the host the host is dead because this parasite just took over its entire fucking body. But the main character, I think his name is Shishiku? Shiko? Shishiku? Something like that. But the main character, he didn't die because of it, but instead it's like they fuse together in a way, and the parasite is like the most emotionless fucking thing ever. So like we now have a human being with this thing on his fucking hand, and like all of this, there's just too much to try and compact into like a spoiler-free analysis of it, man. If you were interested in it, then just go check it out. It is the most darkest, most morbid, most fucked up, most tear-jerking anime that I've ever seen. And speaking of dark, morbid, and tear-jerking anime, at number 3 we have Attack on Titan. Oh shit! If you have not seen Attack on Titan, now look, hold on. Before I go on about this, whenever I say that Attack on Titan is my 3rd favorite anime, or just in my top few favorite anime period, I'm talking about seasons 1 and 2. I hated season 3. I thought that season 3 was an absolute and utter fucking shit show and destroyed everything that Attack on Titan was building up to. It took everything that the story had set up until that point. It was like a big fuck you to seasons 1 and 2. It really was. It was terrible. I thought that there were bits and pieces in season 3 that were cool. Bits and pieces. There were certain elements where I was like, oh shit. If they wouldn't have completely fucked the entire series, this would be pretty fucking cool. Again, I don't want to like spoil anything, just for those of you who haven't seen it. But the reason that I have Attack on Titan so high up on the list is for seasons 1 and 2. Didn't like season 3, and the only reason that I'm going to watch season 4 is just because I've made it this far. I might as well not fucking stop. Just for the simple like if season 4 botches for me and there's nothing appealing about it whatsoever, I'm going to say fuck the anime. I'm never going back to it. But I'm going to give season 4 a chance. But to me, Attack on Titan is seasons 1 and 2. So, before we go over to number 2, let me tell you again, without spoiling anything, because I'm trying to make this as spoiler-free as possible. The general idea for Attack on Titan is in episode 1, they set up the story where a long time ago, I don't know how many years ago, a long time ago, the human species almost went extinct because there were these huge-ass creatures that look like they look like naked with no genitals or anything whatsoever. These large-ass humanoid things, and they're called Titans, and they eat human beings. And they seem to not eat human beings for food. They seem to do it just out of the pleasure of making human beings like scared. Like, they get pleasure out of tormenting and eating human beings. Like, they're not doing it out of necessity. Or at least that is what seasons 1 and 2 is building up to. Again, I didn't like season 3, and just don't like where they fucking took it. And like, even but like there were parts of season 2, especially towards the end, where they started going into that territory. But nonetheless, I've made my points about seasons 1 and 2. So you have these fucking Titans that have like basically made the human species go fucking extinct. Basically, not literally. Because there are still human beings that have been able to build these walls that are even larger than the Titans. Like, way, way larger than the Titans. And they built an entire fucking city. And then they have a city inside of that city, and a city, and a smaller city inside of that city. So you have these 3 cities. These are the only known human beings in the rest of the world. And everything else is just Titans as far as anyone is concerned. And then in the first episode, oh shit, I don't even want to spoil anything. Let's just say the shit gets real fucking quick, and by the end of the first episode, if even if you don't get disturbed easily, you may just get a little bit fucking disturbed after what the fuck you just watched, because it is very disturbing, very heartbreaking, very look, it's very dark, very morbid, but very well written. It's a really damn good anime. If you've not seen Attack on Titan, check out Attack on Titan, or at least seasons 1 and 2. Like, I would personally just say fuck season 3, and probably fuck season 4 whenever that comes out. Or if it's already out. I don't even fucking know. I think I heard something about it, but anyway. At number 2, we have Death Note. Death Note is about a Shinigami. Well, a Shinigami is a god of death. That is what Shinigami means in English, god of death. So aboard Shinigami, in the Shinigami world, the Shinigami realm, drops his notebook. And the notebook is called a Death Note. And if a human being's name is written in it, then the human being will die of a heart attack. Or the Shinigami can specify how the person will die, and they will die in that way, if it is physically possible. So aboard Shinigami drops his Death Note into the human world, and a high school student named Light Yagami ends up finding, what the fuck is up with so many fucking anime and fucking high school students? It's actually kind of fucking disturbing to a certain degree. Anyway, so Light Yagami ends up finding he ends up finding the Death Note. And he writes a criminal's name in it. And that criminal ends up dying of a heart attack, so he realizes, holy shit, this is legit. So then he takes it into his hands to start ridding the world of convicted criminals. So he can basically become the god of the new world that everybody desires. A nice, clean world, free of criminals and murder. And then, after he starts using the Death Note, then the Shinigami appears and explains the situation. And explains that the human who uses this notebook can neither go to heaven nor hell for all eternity. And there's like a lot of fucking plot holes with that particular statement and certain things that the writer said and blah blah blah, but we're not going to get into that here. So that is where it all takes off. And then by episode I would recommend that if you want to get into Death Note, watch it up until at least episode 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Try and get at least 9 to 13-ish episodes into it, because the story, at least in my opinion, doesn't get really good until around episode 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Because that is whenever the two main characters actually really start driving the series further and further and further, and then you're introduced to more new great characters. And at least for me personally, it is an anime that I can watch at least 1 or 2 times every month or 2. Whereas Elfen Lied or Death Parade or Assassination Classroom, I would probably only watch 3 to 7 times a year. Not because I don't like them. I mean, I obviously love them. They're very high up on my list. But there are just some anime that I would rather only watch once every now and then. That way, whenever I watch it again, I have a brand new, fresh perspective, and I can look at it through a new lens. Whereas something like Death Note or the anime that I have at number 1, I can just watch over and 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 just not get bored of it. So now we are at number 1. again, I just want to say that the top 11, my top 11 picks for this list, again, they all kind of spiral into one another. The first 11 on this list, like 1 through 11, they're really all my number one favorite animes. So I don't want to, like, whenever I read out number 1 to y'all, I don't want y'all to be like, oh, that is your favorite anime of all time? Like, yes, but no, because it is like, I like Death Note just as much as I like this one. But I have it at number 1 because I watch it more than I watch Death Note. I don't know. If y'all see where if y'all see what I'm trying to say, then y'all see what I'm trying to say. If not, then I really don't know how to explain it any better than I already have throughout this live stream. So at number 1, we have Naruto/Naruto Shippuden. Now, I want to make this abundantly fucking clear. I think that more than half of Naruto in its entirety, Naruto/Naruto Shippuden. And no, fuck Boruto. I couldn't care less about it. I want to make this abundantly fucking clear. I think that more than half of Naruto, of the entire series, is fucking dog shit. And I'm mainly referring to filler episodes, of course. I don't watch any filler episodes whenever it comes to Naruto, or Naruto Shippuden. I hate the filler episodes. I think that there may have been like 2 or 3 I was entertained by. But I hate the fucking filler episodes. I don't like them, I'm sorry. But whenever it comes to the main story of Naruto, now let's just take Naruto Shippuden out of the picture real quick. Just the first half, just Naruto, all by itself. I think that 90% of the actual canon story is fucking great. I really do. I love it. I can rewatch it over and over and over and over again. In fact, one of my favorite seasons in Naruto, period, like that includes Naruto Shippuden, is season 1 of the original Naruto. One of my favorite arcs in all of Naruto is the Zabuza and Haku arc. I love early Naruto because these are real fucking ninjas. These are ninjas fighting ninjas. By the time that you get to the end of Naruto Shippuden, to the fucking war arc, especially fucking Boruto, they're basically fucking gods at this point. I mean, they most likely still stand no fucking chance against like fucking Dragon Ball Z characters, but they're god level characters now. Whereas like the original Naruto, they were real ninjas. Like they were so much more human. They didn't feel like god level Power Rangers. You know what I mean? And then even when it gets to like Naruto Shippuden, I absolutely love it. Like, again, filler episodes not included. I absolutely love most of everything that led up to the Pain Saga. I love the Pain fight. I love the Pain Saga in general. But then, like, most of what came after that, not saying that there weren't great things after that, there actually were some pretty badass things after that. But the majority of it, I just didn't like. I didn't even like the majority of the war arc. I thought that it had some cool moments, some good episodes, but I was disappointed. And I know that they would have never ever done this because, like, then the series would have had to end or like take like a very dramatic fucking turn and stop calling it Naruto or some shit. But I think that Madara should have fucking won. Not because I like him as a character, not because he's the most OP fucking character in all of Naruto. Actually, no. That is exactly why. Because he's the most OP character in all of Naruto. And I know what some of you are thinking, well, no, you had the fucking goddess chick or whatever the fuck her, I don't know what her fucking name was, but the fucking goddess chick, the fucking princess or whatever who ate from the chakra tree. Yes, I know. But really? Really? It is like Masashi Kishimoto pulled her out of his fucking ass at the last second because he couldn't figure out a way to get rid of of this fucking badass that he created. And I don't think he should have. Or if he was, it could have been something that wasn't as much of a fuck you to the fans. You know what I mean? Because Madara is the most badass ninja. I don't mean that by saying like, oh, he's the most coolest fucking ninja. No, I mean he's the most OP ninja. He's the most badass ninja. So either Masashi Kishimoto should have made a more logical reason to actually getting rid of his character or something like that. Maybe even like sealing him and like something more powerful than the fucking Reaper Death Seal. Something, you know? So I think that everything after Madara dies, fucking bullshit. Fucking stupid, horrible, don't like it, no. And again, I also just didn't like the majority of the war arc in general. I didn't like a lot of what came after the Pain Saga. I liked the majority of everything that came before the Pain Saga. I love the Akatsuki. I love the majority of the Akatsuki members. But to me, Naruto is... So I can look at it from two perspectives. I can either look at it from the perspective of wanting to watch it because of real fucking ninjas, or I can look at it from the perspective of I want to watch it because of just Naruto in general. If I'm looking at it from that perspective, then... What was my fucking point? Holy shit. Fucking lost my point. Oh shit. We've been on the live stream for over an hour and 20 minutes, and this is only the first time that I forgot what the fuck I was going to... I mean, that I fucking lost my train of thought. Applause to me. So if I want to look at it from the perspective of, like, just Naruto in general, I will watch it up until the Pain Saga. And I can say that all of that is, like, my favorite part of Naruto, or the majority of that, again, fillers not included. Or if I want to look at it from the perspective of, like, I just want to see, like, real fucking ninjas, then I just watch the original Naruto. Or sometimes I actually may end up even, like, watching Naruto Shippuden, but only watching it up until, right up until after Naruto and Orochimaru fight, because that is one of the most in my opinion, one of the most badass fights in all of Naruto, period. And seeing... Is that the third tail or the four tail form? I think it is the three tails. No, or is it the four tails? Possibly four. I'm just going to say four. So that four tails form of Naruto, that chakra cloak from the nine-tailed demon fox, is the most badass that we ever see Naruto. Like, you can't, like, I don't think that you can really that you can really disagree with that. Because I don't think that this is an opinion. Because this isn't... Like, all of the other forms is literally the same fucking thing as, like, the one-tail cloak. It is just the chakra surrounding you. That's it. Whereas, like, the four-tail form is Naruto's skin getting peeled off, while the nine-tailed fox is physically trying to emerge from his fucking body. And there is just, like, this infinite not infinite, but the seemingly endless vast of just chakra that is just boiling his fucking skin, and it looks so fucking badass. I just fucking love it. But yeah, those are my top 25 favorite anime of all time. Let me know what your top 25 favorite anime of all time are, and let me know why down in the comment section below. And since this hasn't really been much of a Q&A, because we are already almost an hour and a half into this live stream, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this live stream to just my top 25 anime of all time, or whatever, something like that. And I'm going to take the live Q&A part out of the title, and then the next live stream that I do is going to be whatever episode of my live Q&A series. It is like 26, 27, or 28 by now. We're almost 30 fucking episodes into the live Q&A series. That's fucking awesome. And it has been a great time making these bitches. But yeah, before I do leave, let me get to the chat room and see what the fuck y'all have been saying up until this point, and then we're going to call that a live stream, and I'm going to get back to doing what I was doing beforehand. H7 says, oh yeah, I like that. Thinking about selling your soul to the devil? Call help today. Canadian guitarist enters into the motherfucking chat and says, sup? Attack on Titan? I haven't watched the most recent ones, past 8 months or 10. I haven't watched the most recent ones. I don't know exactly what you're getting at there, man, but, I mean, like I said, dude, to me, Attack on Titan is just seasons 1 and 2. Period. Period. Oh, and also, since we are getting to the end of this live stream right now, for those of you who have not seen Attack on Titan and don't want any spoilers for it, click away now. This is where you want to stop watching the live stream. Personally, I think Eren should have died. I really do. Not because I didn't like his character. Not because of that at all. I like his character. Yeah, he can get very annoying, but I like his character. And that is one reason that I think he should have died. Because that death scene was so fucking disturbing. It was so unexpected. Holy shit, the main character just fucking died. The main character just fucking died. What the fuck? And he had so many dreams. He was going to be the one to kill the fucking Titans. He was going to avenge his mother. And he's dead. And I think he should have stayed dead, because that would have given a lot more fucking gravity to the story. It would have made the story so much more engaging. It would have made you feel like, shit, if even the main character dies, I mean, even if the main character can die, everybody's probably going to die. But that would have made the story, and for me personally, it would have kept me engaged with the story on an even deeper level. Because that is realistic. That is what would have happened in real life. And I think that if that would have been the story, I would probably have that bitch at like number 2 instead of Death Note. Because that would be dark. That would be real. Like, that would be some real fucking shit. And then Mikasa could have became the main character. And then maybe at like the end of the season, she dies. So then whenever season 2 starts, the only one that we have left is the little dude. And then like just off of the top of my head right now, like if I was writing it, what I would do right now, I would have him as the main character. And then like within like the last like few episodes, he dies trying to save everybody. He realizes that it's fucking hopeless. He's watching the entire fucking city die. And maybe he even just commits suicide. He just gives him, he fucking commits suicide. Cause he sees all 3 of the fucking cities now being destroyed. Everybody's being eaten. There's no more hope left. So he kills himself. And no, that would be the last episode. And then it slowly pans up from his blood dripping out because he's standing on top of the fucking wall, watching everybody die. And he like shoots himself through the head or some shit. And you see him falling down. And you see the blood. And then it slowly pans out to the sky. And you're seeing all of the Titans devouring all of the human beings. And then it slowly cuts to black. That is how I would have done it. But we're going to get to one more comment here in the chat room, and then we're going to call that a motherfucking episode. Or we're going to call this a motherfucking episode, because that is a comment. Canadian Guitar says the PC game is kind of cool. I've never played the Attack on Titan games. Not because I'm not interested in them. I actually wouldn't mind playing them. Actually, I might end up buying it for PC because I was thinking about it. But then I just ended up not doing it. I ended up going with Fallout New Vegas because I ended up fucking. So that is a story for another time. But yeah, no, I might end up doing that too. And if I enjoy it, then I will let everybody know what I think about it. I did see a little bit of gameplay from it whenever my friend was playing it. I think it was whenever like the first one came out or whatever. But yeah, I might end up playing that. But personally, whenever it comes to me and video games that I like, though, my top two favorite video games series of all time is Kingdom Hearts and Silent Hill. And I think that the majority of the Silent Hill games are dog shit. And I think that I think that a couple of the Kingdom Hearts games are dog shit, and I think that a lot of the plot line and story elements in Kingdom Hearts is also complete and utter dog shit. But you know what, that is a rant for another time. In fact, we may do an entire live stream just dedicated to my top 5 or top 10 favorite video games, and I'll just go in depth about those bitches like I did with the anime. Except it'll have like more spoilers, because there's no way that I can talk about my favorite video games without going into deep detail. Nonetheless, I do hope that you guys enjoyed this live stream. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to DMT Infinity if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification button to be notified each and every single time that I upload a brand new video. But as always, I am your host, DMT Infinity, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace. Hold on. I changed my little hand thing there. But as always, I'm your host, DMT Infinity, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.